Hi everyone, it's Jac here. I hope you're all really well. Now, sorry that I had to reschedule this appointment. I don't know if you can still hear it in my voice, but I actually have had the flu. I've been really sick, so I'm still very much on the mend, but hopefully I'm good enough to go today to give you some local tips around, networking and sort of unleashing the power of local referrals, because I think, just as a summary, I think we spend a lot of time in getting our website right and maybe using social media and ads and email follow-ups and all those sort of things, but I truly believe that there's nothing more powerful and more compelling than a local referral. So how can we generate more of these for our wedding business? Look, I think there's going to be lots of things in here that I'm going to cover that won't be a surprise, but there might be a few little gems in there that you've tried that little strategy, but you haven't really tapped in and milked it for all it's worth. And maybe there'll be some ideas in here that you haven't thought of yet that you can straight away go and implement in your business. And I think it's important to know too that a lot of these things aren't going to cost you a fortune, right? They're going to cost you time and energy and building relationships. But the reward that you're going to reap from somebody saying, I really recommend this florist or this venue, I had an exceptional experience with this caterer, that speaks volumes over a banner ad being delivered to someone or a Facebook post being to someone. We all know that when we get those referrals, no matter what it is in our life, we really screenshot those things and keep those people in mind. So let's go back to basics and cover off some ideas on how we can leverage these local networks and generate obviously more leads and more business from them. Now, I'm assuming that people are going to jump on and jump off. If you can, by all means, leave me a comment with a question. Nothing's popped up as yet, but I'll be sure to keep an eye on it and address questions as and when they pop up. And likewise, if you have any other tips yourself in terms of great ways that you've sort of incorporated your local network and referrals in generating more business, I'd love to hear about them and discuss them as well. So, all right, so I've got a little sort of hit list of things that I've come up with. Let's start with a couple of obvious ones, right? Obvious. Attending local bridal fairs or expos to connect directly with engaged couples and showcase your services. I think that this can be done really well, or it can be done really badly. I think that it's not necessarily a good spend for every type of wedding business. However, if you have something visual or something like you're a caterer and you giving the option to give food and things like that, if really what you're selling is a visual or an experience, then there is definitely value in doing these expos. I think be strategic about it first and ask opinions of other suppliers in your area. Get on those local Facebook groups and say, hey guys, I'm thinking about where to invest my budget when it comes to expos and conferences and things to promote my business. What are your experiences? Get some feedback from other suppliers and see perhaps if you can narrow down where the investment is best well spent. And if it's somewhere that's quite expensive and you've got quite a bit of space to fill, don't rule out partnering with somebody. If you have a vendor that is really complementary to your business, perhaps you could approach them about sort of going halves in a space and cost promoting each other. You could come up with a strategy of some sort of package deal that's only available on the day, that sort of thing. Also, one thing worth mentioning as well is definitely if there's any opportunities with those expos to pay a little bit extra and get the list and sort of do a follow-up email to all attendees, that I really recommend doing that. And also another great tip would be if you can lock in any kind of deals on the day, not just take emails, but actually have an iPad there or have a Square reader or a PayPal reader and actually take deposits for, I think in that case, the deals need to be really good. They need to be, 50% off, something like that. Really, really, they're only valid if you pay, you pay your deposit today and you pay in full by a certain thing, but the amount is really attractive to people. Another obvious one, collaborate with popular vendors on a styled shoot. Okay, so obviously we all know about this and we talk about this in a lot of our course content with the Wedding Academy, but I think people kind of put it to the wayside and forget that, especially when you're getting started and you don't have that portfolio of work, not just organizing these things, but being strategic about who you want to work with and the kind of looks that you want to attract. I know for a time with Darling Don't Panic, when I moved up to the Sunshine Coast, it was a lot more sort of boho and beach vibes going up here, and my website didn't really reflect that. So at the time when I was considering attracting more of that business, I absolutely floated the idea of doing a styled shoot with vendors up here that can really nail that look and that I wanted to do more work with. So I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you just park. Like I did that in the beginning when I didn't have any photos and I've never had to do it again. I think that it should, if you have the opportunity to keep that in your mix, and if you want to target more types of weddings that you're not currently getting, then a styled shoot is a really great way to sort of create that activity and put yourself in that space on your website, and obviously through your socials and whatnot. And also to get noticed, right? So, say I wanted to work with Sketch and Etch, who do neon signs for a particular styled shoot or whatever. Sketch and Etch are going to be posting from that shoot and tagging me. So, if their clients are the kind of clients that I want to attract more, it's just a win-win situation. Perry, I've seen your question. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. Absolutely, about reaching out to fellow vendors. No problem. All right, the next one I want to say is appearing on podcasts. Right, appearing on podcasts is an incredible way to get yourself out there. I know it's not specifically local, but you might find there might be something that's specifically local. You might find that there's a New York wedding podcast, or there's a Florist in Australia podcast, or excuse me for 1 second. But definitely putting yourself on a podcast really gives you, access to different audiences that may not have found you, and gives you an opportunity to really talk about your expertise. And depending on the kind of podcast, it could really establish you as an expert and a respected person in that field, as a florist or a caterer or whatever. And that could be someone's listening and then refers them and goes, hey, I just heard this great podcast. It was this florist, and isn't she down your area in Geelong? Cool. Her name was this, blah, blah, blah. So podcasts, they don't take a lot of time out of your day, but they're an excellent, they definitely reap the rewards of the time spent. The next one is basic, but I think it's the most important, and I harp on about this all the time, is building relationships with local venues. And this is in particular for wedding planners. It's obviously great for any kind of wedding supplier or vendor, whether you're a florist, a cake maker, a celebrant or whatever, to be top of mind and to be referred from a venue. But in particular is I think wedding planners, because it's kind of like, right, we go to the venue first, and it can vary on different markets, right? But for us, from my experience, they go to the venue first, that dictates the date, and then they're off getting their wedding planner from that, armed with that date and that venue, and knowing where the location's going to be. They typically will be going for a wedding planner that's sort of either where they live or where the wedding location is. To have the venue recommend the wedding planner at that initial stage is just a game changer. 9 times out of 10, the couple will just go, oh, you recommend them? Great. Because there's also that sort of other underlying issue that couples sometimes have, where they're like, oh, there's the venue and there's the wedding planner. Do they get on? How do they work together? That's kind of removed immediately. Plus they have this confidence of, these guys, I've worked with them, so they're obviously really good. So I think it's important for anybody. The way that I used to approach it was when I first started my wedding business, every Saturday I would go to a different winery and go and take my kids and my husband, and every Saturday go and have a cheese board and a bottle of wine and ask for the event manager and introduce myself. And I would take some of my cards, and I would ask if I could get some venue packs for them to promote their business to my clients, and I didn't ask for anything in return. So that got me off to a really good start. I had a lot of venues just take a liking to me because I didn't ask for anything. I actually just offered to help them, and help spread the word about their beautiful venue that I really wanted to work at. So I found that was a really successful way to kind of start those relationships. Creating a referral program for past clients, so encouraging them to refer your services. So there's heaps of different ways that you can do this, but I think definitely sending them an email soon after the affair, and perhaps when you're asking for your testimonial or something like that, you might tack on that the greatest compliment that you could receive is the referral of their friends and family, and maybe you're willing to pass on some sort of voucher, $100 off or something like that to even sweeten the deal further. But definitely sort of while they're hot and loved everything and basking in their own event, it's a great time to kind of go, know anyone else is getting engaged, your friends are our friends. There's cute ways that you can definitely sort of set that up and make that cute and unoffensive, and just like we had a great time with them, let's Jac's getting married in a month, blah blah blah, let's refer them. The next one, now some of you may have heard of BNI. I think that BNI could be kind of cool as a local referral option. If you haven't heard of BNI, it's a paid membership business networking group where you pay a fee for a year, and look, it's not cheap, but you might get, say for example where I live, which is be BNI Sunshine Coast, for example. There might be one chapter, they're called, chapter is like the club, the group, whatever, and inside that network there will be a person that does each particular field. So there might be a lawyer, an accountant, a wedding planner, a travel agent, a gym owner, and the whole purpose of these guys catching up every week is to generate referrals for each other. So whilst a wedding business may not be top of mind for something like this, it's actually really, really good for BNI because everyone knows somebody that's getting married, right? Or everyone has an event coming up or whatever that needs a photographer or whatnot. So just putting yourself in that space, returning the favor for them, making referrals for them, but also being top of mind that you have this whole army of people that are listening out for people that are getting married and looking for ways to give opportunities to their members. So BNI could be something worth, especially if you love that sort of regular business networking and building connections, that could be a really good fit for your business as well. Perry, I'm seeing yours. I will. I'm not going to touch on Easy Weddings because it's not really a local referral. That's more of a sort of national advertising site. But just to answer quickly is there a way to reach out to fellow vendors on social media without knowing you to ask for referrals, or because it's mostly based on first-hand experience to only allow referral naturally after working with them? Yeah, I wouldn't be going in asking for referrals. I would be flipping it and doing what I said, like with the venue. So approaching them, saying, I really love your work. Is there anything that you can send me to promote your work to my clients? Perhaps you have a client welcome pack or something. That's what we used to do. And we would have these selections of suppliers and vendors inside that we liked. So I would approach them with the offer to help them and cultivate the relationship from there, not asking something from them. I think that it's unlikely that anyone's going to refer you when they've had absolutely no dealings with you, but I think that the likelihood of them referring you when, you know, you've been referring to them and you've been cultivating a really nice beginning of a relationship, they're more than likely to, you know, recommend and think of you. And I've had heaps of examples of that. Like there's a venue in Geelong that referred me like 10 times before I even worked for them, because I went and helped them with something completely nothing to do with weddings. I went and helped them with something to do with digital that they needed a hand with, helped them, and they did not stop referring me as a wedding planner, and I never actually did a wedding with them before that. So just being helpful and putting a face to the name and making a personal connection will absolutely assist with that. Of course, offering exclusive discounts or packages for referrals for other suppliers in your network. So, you know, saying to the venue, for example, yes, go in and maybe take that approach and get their information, but say, you know, also just while I think of it, you know, here's a little 5% discount card that you could share with anyone that you refer to me. You know, something a little bit less pressure, that's just no work for them. It's just something that they can kind of slot in to their existing packs. Something like that could be really well received as well. Similar to BNI, like joining business associations like chambers of commerce as well. Some of them, you know, I'm sure there's a selection of them in your local area that you can pay a membership as a small business owner in that region and come to their events and come armed with your cards or your discounts on a card or whatever it is you have, your packs, your wedding packs, and just go with an open mind that, you know, it's may not be wedding specific, but everybody knows people that are getting married, so it's worth just by making those personal connections to be top of mind and to get those referrals as, you know, as even just, yes, someone who knows somebody who's getting married. Sponsoring local community events or charity functions to increase visibility and connect with potential clients. I just think that's a really nice branding exercise to, you know, to get involved with the community again and just be top of mind, I think, from a branding awareness point of view. Now, when it comes to social, obviously, you know, posting on your Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest and all of that is sort of outside of the topic that we're talking about, but you're probably doing that. But I think on this perspective, going in and targeting local groups and being like engaging in those local groups is super helpful. So I'm moving to a new area inside the Sunshine Coast, and if I was driving my wedding business, I probably would be targeting a group, you know, that's specific to that area and getting in there and helping and offering advice on different things and answering different things and going in there and getting involved, so my name starts popping up and people start thinking of me because I'm engaging in my local community. So definitely those sort of Geelong weddings or Melbourne weddings, Sydney weddings, whatever your local area is, sort of looking for those Facebook groups in there. And you know, the unwritten rule is don't post and promote, but go in there and engage and take part in conversations. That's how you really get noticed in those groups. Offer to write guest blog posts for local wedding websites or collaborate on content. So, you know, that could be maybe not Easy Weddings or something like that. Maybe that's more of a, you know, going to a wedding venue and offering to write, if you're a wedding planner, offering to write you know, tips for your on the day setup at that venue, or going to a florist and you know, giving some advice around a specific setup or florist style or whatever. So approaching people that are, you know, who you want to aspirationally, who you want to do more work with, and offering to do content on their website. If that's your space and you're happy to write blogs, then that could be a really great way to do it and low cost. What else did I have here? Obviously asking for reviews. So not only asking for references, but definitely asking for testimonials. Sometimes people are quite scared of asking for reviews, and I think that it's really, really important to say that if you don't ask for reviews, please absorb this, right? Absorb this. If you do not ask for reviews, you will only ever get bad reviews, right? So what that means is if you ask every single person for a review, then you are more likely to get 90 great reviews and 10 bad reviews, which will absolutely look fine and look way better than just having 10 bad reviews. So I think it's super, super important to definitely ask for reviews and be responsive on those reviews and reply. Another thing that we practiced at Darling Don't Panic, which is really effective for us, is that after every single wedding that we do, we leave a positive review on the suppliers that we worked on. And of course, the way that the world works is when we do that, they tend to do that back to us as well. But we absolutely take the first step there and leave an exceptional positive review on all of our suppliers after each wedding. Now, the last thing that I wanted to say was a potential idea that you may not have thought of, which was perhaps to start a small networking event in your local area specific to wedding business. Now, we have floated the idea of creating something like this ourselves, and we would be open to any of our former students if they were interested in getting our assistance in doing this. But if you wanted to create your own group, and I'd probably suggest using something like meetup.com to do this, you can create your own kind of local group and then have your own professional networking events centered around weddings as often as you'd like, whether that's once a month, once every 2 months or whatnot. But what that's going to do is put you front and center and you know, put you as a real leader when it comes to the wedding business space in your area, and people are going to think of you and refer you quite often. Anyway, so that's it from me. That's kind of all my ideas. I know there's been a few of you online, but I haven't noticed anything come in. I'm just going to have a look at my phone quickly. I haven't noticed anything come in that while I'm here live. However, please feel free to just comment, and I'll get back to each and every one of you. And yeah, let's keep the conversation going. Love to hear all of your ideas on how you leverage your local network to generate more sales. Anyway, take care, everybody. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.